Can you imagine what Kilian Jornet could do in 12 miles if he was like, I'm leaving it all on the table for a gold medal?
For my country.
Yeah, I'd watch that.
Welcome back to the Next Aid Station podcast. I am your host, Jake Kilgore, and co-host, Mick Garrison. I want to jump right in real quick and thank our sponsors, Rockstar, running it hard with us. Had some great conversations with them lately, and they are coming through on another long-term agreement with DC Peaks and Next Aid Station. So cheers to Rockstar and cheers to DC Peaks for coming in the clutch, bringing us 3 amazing races, 50 miler, 55K, and a 25K right here in our own backyard of Davis County, Utah. Good morning, Mick.
How's it going, buddy?
It is going really good. I got an amazing workout in this morning.
That's what I was just going to say.
And my mind is ripe.
You just came off of North Adams, big climb, 3rd time in a week or something. Good job, dude.
Thanks, man. I'm putting in the vert, getting ready for Tahoe 200. And you and I have done a bunch of different maps on, what's the mapping system?
All Trails?
On All Trails. And it would be amazing one day to have some trail, some course, some race with North Adams in it. I think she's a hidden gem in Davis County. I don't think there's a lot of people that climb that route, and it's so freaking good for training. Steepers. So if you are in anywhere in northern Utah and you want a good steep climb I went 3,000 feet in an hour 10 today, and give it 2 more weeks and I'll climb all the way to Thurston. So I'll get 5,000 feet of climbing in, just straight shot. So
that reminds me of Wolverine. Also, hidden gem, very steep.
Yep. Wolverine kind of hitters out at, there's like a trail. You kind of lose trail, but
for now,
until we get our chainsaws up there, our massacre on our way up Wolverine, we get our massacre on.
That's right.
So this is where my mind's at the last week, and I think we need to tackle this topic today. Today's topic, I've got some deep questions, and my mind for all of our listeners clearly is on the 200-mile distance. I've got my first 200-miler coming up in 4 weeks. We just watched Cocodona. We've been talking about it. The lure and the unknown territory of the 200. So I did a little research, and I got some questions for you today, Mick.
Okay, go.
How familiar are you with like the history of the 100-miler? Specifically like a Western States or a Wasatch, big races that have been around 30 years, we'll call it, 30, 40 years. How familiar are you with the history of like the times and the speed of which runners were doing those?
When it first started? No, I don't know. Am I right in thinking that the Western States, they wanted to see if a person could beat a horse?
I think that is how that started.
And if that's not true, I have created that in my mind, and I'm rolling with that.
If it's not true, you heard it here first, folks, on the Next Aid Station.
I read Dean Karnazes's book, and I think in that book, he said that. So I've always thought that the first 100 came to be because they wanted to see if a human being could beat a horse. We'll have to fact check that.
Similar to, could a trail runner beat a mountain biker on DC Peaks 50?
Yeah, similar to that.
It's kind of how DC Peaks 50 started.
So I don't know the times. I would guess the first time ever, which I don't know when the first 100 was.
On their website, you can just click a little drop down, and it goes to 1973.
Oh, okay.
And then there's
that's not what I was thinking.
Like no results. In 70, no, it goes to 74. Sorry.
In 74, hikers, they probably got a few of them together. I think that probably took them, a long time. Was the first one ever Western? Was that right?
I don't know if that was the first 100, but it was like 1974. The results weren't
36
there.
hours.
I don't know, but I know the history of like Wasatch 100 just had their 40th anniversary or their 30th. Their 30th, I think, a year or two ago. And they had some of the OGs from like the first year come and attempt to do Wasatch again. And those guys told the story that it was like 4 or 5 of them all got together. They pieced it together literally on actual maps, like unfold them out of your backpack. And they tried to like through hike the first 100 miles. So if you say that, I'm going to say that the 70s were like, people were just figuring out, hey, like, let's go hike for a day or two and try and knock out 100 miles. Western States was born, Wasatch 100 was born, and some others were born there in the 70s. In the 80s, it became like an event and a race. Like, let's race this thing. So historically, it went from like through hiking, can we even map trails together? Because the trail system, of course, wasn't nearly what it was, today, 30, 40 years ago. So I did a little research, and I'm only going to go back 30 years because anything more than that, it's like you're comparing the NBA to the ABA.
Okay.
It doesn't relate.
All right.
So 1993, that's 30 years ago, which is wild. We were in junior high. We were going to Mueller Park Junior High, which was right behind your house.
Yes, that was the year that I set myself on fire and landed in the hospital.
Perfect. So Michael Jordan was winning titles, hand over fist, and Mick was lighting himself on fire.
Both on fire.
Bro, you and MJ were on fire. Perfect. So here's what I found, and I only had time to look at Western because that's, in my opinion, the echelon of like hundreds, especially stateside, right? The Western is like the Super Bowl. So 1993, the winner of Western States won it. Tom Johnson won it in 17 hours and 8 minutes.
The first time ever?
No, 1993. The first one was 1974. So we're 19 years into.
They weren't racing, you said.
They weren't racing in the 70s. I mean, late 70s, they were racing.
That's fast.
But 1993, 30 years ago.
Okay,
follow me. Third place, female, Ann Trayson, 1905. So 2-hour gap between podium. 17 hours, we'll call it 17 hours flat, 19. Okay. 10 years later, our boy, Scott Jurek, wins it in 1601. So 2001, Scott knocks an hour off of the time from 10 years ago. Third place was 1731. So 2013, Timothy Olson drops another hour off the time at 15:17. Third place, Mike Mortensen, 15:45. So you see the trend?
Yeah.
And last year, Tom Evans goes 14:40, bro. And Anthony Costales, 15:09.
I watched it.
Yes, we did.
Flying.
Bro, and last year, Courtney Dauwalter did a 15:29.
Wait, she did?
Yes.
I mean, I knew that she
Top
crushed
10.
it.
15:29, Courtney.
Yeah, she's amazing.
So in 30 years, Western States, I don't think the course has changed in 30 years. Like probably like a little couple things here and there. Nothing to like dramatically change time. A couple little trails, new turns, little dinky things here and there, I'm sure. Insignificant, immaterial. In 30 years, every decade, they drop an hour in time. We could attribute that to a number of things. Like
steroids.
Right. So today's topic, juicing up in the sport. So in 30 years, just even the gear that these guys were rolling in, right? Their shoes, their packs. Now they just go with a handheld and a few goos, and it's freaking Formula One when they roll into an aid station.
Oh, I know.
Bzz, bzz, they're like popping them up. Shoes are off, socks are off, and I think he or she is just standing there like this.
Yeah, they've got their crew. Let's roll.
Bzz, 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 they just swap it all out. New gear, new fuel, new shoes, new socks. Wash their face, brush their face, out.
Yeah, the athletes every year in all sports, there's better coaching, there's better equipment, there's better athletes. They're just breeding better athletes as time goes on.
Yep. So if you sum it all up, it's like information, education, knowledge, right? Over 30 years, think how much education just in the physiology and the chemistry of the body. You can go into a sweat lab and they'll tell you how much like sodium you lose in a drop of sweat in an hour. I don't think Tom Johnson in 1993 running a 17:08 had that.
Nope.
Maybe. He wasn't hitting cryotherapy that week or the cold plunge. Yeah.
Sleeping in a hyperbaric chamber.
Yeah.
You see guys training at altitude when they're not at altitude on the treadmill with that mask.
Even that, like in the 80s and 90s, people around think we're moving to Flagstaff and Boulder left and right. They're like just
they got it dialed. They got the training dialed, the nutrition.
So here's where I'm going with this. I did a little research because I'm like, this majestic, unknown world, the lure of the 200, I can't get my mind off of it. And I want to understand where it's going and what it's going to do to the sport. So I'm using the history of the 100 to predict the trajectory of the 200. First, this is an Olympic summer. This summer, the Summer Olympics are in Paris. When are we going to have an ultra trail marathon?
I have asked this.
In the Olympics.
I asked this.
Are we going to have to do it ourselves?
Yeah, we got connections, right?
I know people.
Well, I mean, the Olympics are probably coming back to Utah, so we'll just make it a winter event.
Let's talk to Ryan Smith.
We'll hit up Jared Campbell and do Rufa.
We'll talk to Jared, and then we'll go talk to Ryan and be like, hey, so remember when you flew down to Phoenix and you just bought a hockey team? You want to buy a trail race? For
that would be cool. I could just be, because I'm a fan now, I don't know who would want to watch that, but there are other Olympic sports that are pretty boring.
Let's name 3 Olympic sports.
Curling.
The Summer Olympics.
Okay. Synchronized swimming. I don't care. But still I watch it. That's amazing. Look at that. Look at that drill team in the water.
There are so many sports now in the Olympics, which I'm down. I'm supportive of all of them. I'm not biased. Right? Track and field gets all the prime time.
Yeah.
So does swimming. We don't even get basketball prime time. Sometimes we do. Volleyball gets some prime time depending on who's in it. Beach volleyball definitely does. You can't tell me right now that if every country got 3 athletes, 3 male, 3 female, or like beach volleyball, you get 2 teams. If the U.S. sent their 3 best men and their 3 best women
for trail running,
who's going to watch that? I am glued to that, dude.
Yeah. You know what would be fun? If they did like they do with swimming and running. They do some relays and they do some single.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, I think we do a 50K, 100K, and 100 mile. That's what we do.
But I want to invent a new thing. I want to see what happens when Hayden Hawks passes off to Jim Walmsley.
Oh my gosh!
And you're doing.
And they're competing against.
Yeah, whoever.
Go. They'd be competing against Killian.
Yeah. No, I'm saying pick whatever country.
Oh, it'd be amazing.
Go to France. Aurélien Dunon-Pallade and that other guy that took second.
And Killian?
He's from Spain, but yeah.
Oh. Wait, and
the French, I'm saying.
Yeah, what's the dude that won UTMB 2 years ago? Francois?
Yeah.
Bro, Francois and that dude on a team?
Bro, that's what I'm saying. But if you did a 50K or a 50 miler, something smaller, but they were going balls to the wall for like 12 miles.
Yeah.
Can you imagine what Kilian Jornet could do in 12 miles if he was like, I'm leaving it all on the table for a gold medal?
For my country.
Yeah, I'd watch that.
And finding the courses and creating the routes in the local country that year.
Yeah.
We go to France and we're just like, okay, we got to go set up a 50K course, a 100K course, a 100-mile course, and a relay. And you got 50, 60 countries all contributing 2 to 3 men and 2 to 3 women in each one.
Mm.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. I want to see that over bow and arrow skis.
Whatever it's called. That would be unreal.
Yeah, it would.
Okay, this is our first shout out to the Olympic Committee getting ultra trail running into the Olympics. How many years out are we? We're 2024, 2028, or 2032. I'm going to predict that by 2032, trail running is an Olympic event.
DC Peaks got it on there.
And the DC Peak, like the Olympic rings, probably goes from 5 to 6. You know, we probably earn a ring.
Okay, call Ryan Smith. Let's make it happen.
Done. Okay. Now that we've covered our Olympic
that was actually really exciting for me.
Dude, that'd be amazing. I can't even move on from this topic yet because I'm like, I would be glued, bro, to that TV.
Yeah.
To get a medal.
When we're done with this, I'm going to go do some research and see what country I think would win. Okay.
I don't know how you couldn't. I mean, in the women's, all 3 distances, I'm taking the U.S.
Yeah, me too. But men's is different.
Men's is different. It also would depend on maybe the host country and the terrain, right? You get something over in Italy and France. Like France this year, it's in Paris.
No, it wouldn't matter at all.
They'd go do something
They're
in the
all
Alps.
Amazing, and they would go live there like Jim Walmsley moved to the Alps for UTMB. I mean,
Tom Evans would be running for Great Britain.
Yeah. Okay.
They're going to show. Italy, France,
I'm rolling
Spain,
France, dude.
US.
Without even knowing anything about the distance or.
Yeah. Jim, bro, you put Jim on a team with Hayden.
So you do an Olympic event in LA, for example. That's a long. I guess you got to just drive to whatever mountains are near there.
Yeah, you just go up north to like the Western States routes and up there.
You just have to figure it out.
The Olympics covers tons of like ground. I mean, just when the Utah has the Olympics, we cover like a 30 to 50 mile radius.
I'm sure that ours is like the smallest.
Yeah,
one of them.
Yeah,
we have an airport Paris. Very close to all the ski resorts.
Yeah.
Huh, okay, I'll get back to you on that.
Okay. So we're gonna jump back to the 200-mile discussion because it has occupied my brain for the last several weeks. So based on that research of Western states knocking off an hour every decade, the 200-mile distance, Michael McKnight has been racing 200s for 7 years. No wonder he's the best that's ever done it.
Right. When was the first one?
So on Ultra Sign Up, since that is the Bible of racing for us, the Moab 240 has been around since 2017.
Oh, that was the first one?
On Ultra Sign Up. I don't know when
I thought somebody
Goggins did his first one and then wrote his book.
I thought somebody ran around Tahoe first.
Sure. Tahoe was 2014. So this is the 11th year of Tahoe. Bigfoot, 2015. The divide in Canada has been around a few years. I sent you one over the weekend in California. This is its first year. Had 21 runners. Cocodona, this was its 4th year. So according to Ultra Signup, none of these races have been around more than 10 years. Mike McKnight has he found the niche early. He became an early adopter. He pioneered the 200. He'll be in the 200 Hall of Fame if there is one.
So it's been going. It's been going for 10 years.
Let's round it out to 10.
Okay,
7 to 10 years.
And the record just got broken by 10 hours.
Yeah. So where is the 200-mile distance going?
Yeah, it's so the 200 is the new 100.
Maybe. If you
seems like it's going that way.
If you followed all the Cocodona stuff like I did, Jim Walmsley was there because he lives between his chateau in France and Flagstaff, and he was there in Flagstaff.
I saw that.
And you saw what I saw, which was they're like, "Hey Jim, what do you think about the Cocodona 250?" And he's like, "Very interesting. Trying to wrap my head around the distance." He said something to that effect.
Wrap my head around the distance is not a no.
You know exactly what he's thinking. Could I do it? And if I could, how fast am I burning this thing?
Well, Arlen Glick gives you an insight to that, in my opinion, because
so does Harry and so does Jeff Browning.
On this last race, I already knew Jeff Browning could do this distance well.
Yeah.
But I didn't know if Arlen Glick could. And that dude crushed it.
So Mike McKnight has said it on multiple podcasts. He just said it on mine. He moved to the 200 early on because he realized he wasn't fast enough to hang with the elites in the 100. He was fast. Mike's fast, dude. He is fast, but not elite fast.
Yeah.
So he moved to the 200, early adopter into the 200. He holds a bunch of course records. He figured out the dieting and the nutrition on his own, literally just trial and error on his own. And that's how he figured it out.
Well, I think he was working with Jeff on that.
Because Jeff's his coach.
Yeah.
But Jeff wasn't like a 200-mile expert. Jeff just rolled into 200 last year.
I also think there's a lot of people that probably disagree with their fueling.
Who cares?
I'm just saying. You said they got it figured out. They got it figured out for them.
That's all that matters.
That's right.
So Jeff, I want to say his first 200 was Moab last year. And you know what he did at Moab?
Set the course record.
Yep. What and Harry, Jeff, and Arlen did this year in Cocodona?
Yeah, they all crushed the course record. 10 hours, 9 hours.
Yeah, dude. So where are we going with the 200? We're 7 to 10 years in, which is like a blink of nothing.
I think that you can't keep breaking the record by that much.
Right.
So eventually that's going to cap out. Where you might beat it, but you're going to beat it by minutes. You're not going to, are you going to beat Harry's record by 5 hours, 10 hours? And then if you do that, it's probably like, okay, that's it.
Right.
But what I think will happen is that the 200, like we said, becomes the new 100. And then you get the masses, more and more people trying the 200. And maybe that's the direction it goes, more than that it gets so much faster. It's going to get faster. But that it is a good question, because it's like, how much faster will it get? What happens when Francois and Killian come do this?
in gym. Well, here's an
Because
interesting thought.
I mean, they're not that much faster than Jeff Browning. They're faster, so they, you know what I mean?
Certainly, and does it compound over miles and miles, or does the gap get shorter? Does their speed compound over time, or is it like, no, there's a law of diminishing return with that?
If you tell me Killian is in a race, I assume he's going to win it.
I don't care what the distance is.
I don't either.
I'm picking him.
So am I.
Yep.
Even though Jim Walmsley just beat his record
Yep.
at UTMB, I would still have a very hard time betting against Killian.
So here's what I know about running in general as the body gets older and adapts. And I've read a number of books on this, which is like the younger athlete, high school, college athlete, their coaches don't have them race a marathon, right? They stick them at the 5K and the 10K and they burn them out. As they get older, they'll move them into the marathon. So these really good cross-country athletes that are right here in Utah that are winning state titles, and they go to BYU and they go run, they don't move into the marathon till like they graduate from BYU. Like Jared Ward, the Olympian, fast, super fast collegiate athlete, goes to his first Olympic trials and makes the Olympic team in the marathon. And he's not running ultras, but if you just say that you run 5 and 10Ks in junior high school, college, after college in your mid-20s, you start doing marathons. By your mid to late 20s, you're doing 50Ks and 50 milers in your 30s. So the thought is, are the Arlen Glicks of the world, Tom Evans, as they get into their late 30s, early 40s, are they going to graduate to 200s and run 200s in their 40s? Or do they start hitting them now in their prime, like their early 30s?
Well, if it did somehow change and it was in the Olympics, now you got people starting training from when they're 5. So that changes things. But if it just is the way it is now, I don't know. I think that if the 200 does become the new 100, then yeah, they're going to enter these earlier. Competition gets better and better. It seems like every single year somebody I've never even heard of pops up, and you're like, who is this person?
Mm-hmm.
How are they beating Jeff Browning every year?
My thought is that the 200 is going to grow faster than the 100 grew. The 100 grew over like 30 years. Now it's like a big deal. What everyone wants to run. That's where all the sponsorship bonuses are. That's where a lot of the money is. That's where Hoka they're throwing down in the 100K and the 100 mile for the most part. I think we are 3, max 5 years away from a major shift into the 200 from like the Hayden Hawkses of the world, Anthony Costales, Tom Evans. I think they're 3 to 5 years away. And here's my reasoning. The amount of revenue generation that Cocodona 250 just did, I don't know the numbers, but from a pure eyeballs standpoint and live stream for 5 days, they own that freaking week. You can't tell me that the number of advertising that all those brands got during that week, Hoka or Solomon or someone, Nike, is going to step in and be like, here's $500,000. I want all my runners in that thing. And if you win it, you get X. Podium, you get Y. Money will move all those elites into like, well, looks like I'm running Cocodona this year.
I mean, if if the sponsors pushed them or if the runners actually got some money, sure. But do the winners of these races even get anything?
Not from Cocodona, but you can't.
You're saying it will change in 5 years
or less. I believe. I mean, I'm going to ask Jeff.
I think social media is a huge reason why it will grow so much faster.
Yes, it's going to grow way faster. Social media, internet, live stream, all of that, just everything just moves faster.
Mm-hmm.
Businesses grow faster. Money moves quicker. I mean, I have every reason to believe that an athlete of Jeff's caliber, with the number of sponsors that he has, that dude has a bonus for podium or winning Cocodona 250. And if he doesn't, shame on his agent. He absolutely should get a check if you podium at Cocodona. You know how many people have said Jeff Browning's name and watched him wear his Ultra shirt and his shoes and his pack for 3-4 days? That dude needs a check at the end of that race. Absolutely. So does Arlen, so does Harry. And then you start getting like the Tiger Woods effect. They're calling Mike McKnight a year in advance. Hey, man, will you please come run this race? And his agent's like, sure. What's my appearance fee? Guys like Mike don't even have to win. They just have to show up. You don't think one of these 200s would pay David Goggins $30,000 to just show up and race? $50,000, come race.
I don't know about $50,000.
You don't think they'd pay it?
You think the value's there?
In 3 to 5 years, 100% it'll be there.
That's a lot of money.
Not for Nike.
If
Nike,
if the Forest Service would just let you have unlimited people sign up,
right?
But you can't.
But
they already fill up.
But you hold those spots for money. You don't think Nike,
the advertising,
bro? Nike calls up Tahoe 200 is like, hey, I know the race is full, but Sally, we want Sally McRae to race the Tahoe 200. You think that Destination Trails is just like, nah, sorry, it's full?
Definitely not. I just don't think they'd pay her $50,000.
I think you'd be surprised.
But Cocodona's live stream.
Mm-hmm.
There's advertising revenue to be had when you do that. Bigfoot, Tahoe, they don't Moab. There's no live stream. That hurts them on the revenue.
Yep.
On the revenue source.
So we'll go back to Cocodona and say, if we called Nike and we're like, hey, we think it's a good idea that Sally McRae runs that race next year, and here's why. You have this many eyeballs on the race, this many posts, this many live stream, da-da-da-da-da.
That does change
But
things.
Sally doesn't want to do it. She's your biggest athlete. Sally's agent's like, yeah, give us $100,000, we'll race it. And give me $25,000 if I win it. The Tiger Woods effect. It's coming, dude. It's coming.
I would say no.
You'd say no as a race director, or
$100,000? Yeah, I'd say no. But I hear what you're saying.
No, Nike pays it.
Oh, Nike pays it.
Nike today. Nike would pay Sally McRae to go race Cocodona 250,
and then they expect the advertising.
And Nike's like, cool, we'll pay to have Sally in it. We think you guys are going to have more views. Therefore, we want to be a premier sponsor. We want to be on your live stream, top right corner. We want you to interview the Nike VP of trail running for an hour during the session. We want a post-race interview with Sally. Cool. And then Sally's like, cool, write me a check and I'm in.
Yeah, $100,000 to them is like lunch. We'll buy you lunch.
You want to buy me lunch? Great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Legit.
That's where this is going. That's where that's where ultra trail running is going. It is going to a PGA Tour type atmosphere.
I look forward to that.
We're going to be too old to make any money on it, but we'll sit on our TVs and we'll watch.
No, we won't.
We're not going to be racing.
Nope.
You wouldn't be racing anyway.
I would be middle of the packing.
I'll be dropping out in the middle of the pack at some point.
I represent the middle of the pack, Jake.
Yes, you do.
My group is strong.
Very strong.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. A lot of finishers in that group.
Yeah, they need a voice.
They the voice of the people.
I'm not interested in you top 10 guys.
Meh. You elites. So yeah, I am very excited about where the 200 is going. And I think from here on out, we are going to see a dramatic shift in the 200 times, course records, new races popping up, sponsorship money getting dumped into 200s. Because if I'm Solomon and I watched that race and the amount of cameras that were on the lead runners, I want every one of those dudes and gals wearing a Solomon pack next year. That's what I want. If I'm over brand for Solomon, every one of those dudes are wearing one of my packs.
Maybe you should be an agent.
I think I should be the CEO of Solomon. Are they hiring?
I don't know. I'll be the COO.
Yes. Perfect.
We got that dialed.
Yeah. So, dude, I'm pumped. I mean, I think that these times, I'm looking at the Tahoe 200, Bigfoot, Moab. I'm looking at all these times. They really haven't seen the dramatic shift in time yet. And I know a lot of them have changed course, but like in the last 10 years at Tahoe, number of different courses. But to me, 200 miles and 35 to 40,000 feet, I don't care if it's an out and back or a big round loop or 2 out and backs like it is now, you're still doing 200 miles and 35 to 40,000 feet of climbing, give or take. In the last 10 years, the times have been between like 4 and 5 hour differences, like 60 hours to like 67 hours for podium. Not a big gap.
Yep.
And no one is showing up winning that thing in 48 hours.
Is that your guess that someday it will get to 48 hours?
Absolutely. Oh, yeah.
I was going to ask you that. So there you go.
Yeah.
When will it? So within 5 years, someone will do Cocodona 250?
That was Tahoe.
Oh, that's Tahoe.
Cocodona. I mean, like Moab, the course has changed, but like Courtney did it. Courtney did it in 57 hours in 2017. 57 hours.
Who's going to be
the same year? Michael McKnight did it in 68.
It's going to be hard to beat her.
And she's one of the first elite runners to go try these 200s and crush them. She crushed Tahoe the first year. She crushed Moab in 2017. And then she's just destroying all the hundreds. No one else of Courtney's caliber has stepped into the 200s. That's my point. She's beating McKnight, who is the godfather of 200s. He'll retire. They'll have a statue of him in bronze on every 200-mile course. He will be in the Hall of Fame. And she beat him by 11 hours?
Yeah, and what is Jim Walmsley beating her by?
Exactly. Tom Evans.
Yeah.
Hayden Hawks. The list is long. The list is very, very long of athletes who, I think for the first time, those athletes are sitting back watching it going, If you go watch that reel again of Jim, the hamster is just turning in his head.
Yeah, once those guys do it, then there's the domino effect, and everybody else is gonna.
And then the money.
Yeah.
And then the money comes.
Okay, we have your prediction, 5 years.
Yeah. But like last year, Tahoe, or last year, Moab was like 70, 73 hours. So my prediction, in the next 5 years, someone will run Tahoe in sub 50, and they're going to run the Cocodona 250. I think there's another 5 to 10 hours to be trimmed off of that course.
Another 10.
5 to 10. Yeah. We're just learning, dude. We're just learning what it takes to get through those races. Pit stops, aid, how much water you got to carry, like all this stuff, nutrition. We're just learning that. Like we're infants.
I'll take the I will take the...
Let me set the line.
Okay.
I'll say 59 hours. I think someone goes sub 50 in the next 5 years at Cocodona 250. Because 59 is now the course record. Someone goes 49, 59.
Right now, in my soul, and I'm sure people at Western in 2013 or whatever would have said the same thing as I'm saying. Harry, he did it. Jeff Browning, they're so fast. I don't see how they're going to, in 5 years, take off 9 hours. So I'm going to take the over.
Okay.
You're taking the under. You think it'll happen. I think the record will be broken.
Yeah, for sure.
I do think that. But I think in 5 years, it won't be 9 hours.
People, will it be in 10 years? In 10 years? We trim off another 9 hours?
Well, we did. In the last 10 years, we trimmed off 10 years. 10 hours, I mean.
From what?
10 years ago in the 200 miler.
But Cocodona's only been around for 4 years.
But I think you said Tahoe. No, it wasn't. It was Western. Sorry.
Yeah.
Western.
Western, they're trimming an hour every decade.
Somewhere in there, I thought we said in 10 years, they took off 10 hours.
No.
Jamie, run it back.
Run it back. No, let's talk about the Cocodona 250 because it's only 4 years old. And they just broke the course record by 9 hours. In the next 10 years, is it going to break by another 9 hours? That's the question.
Yeah.
A decade.
Yeah, you're giving an extra 5 years in there.
Yeah. Yeah, give me 10 years. Then what is the new course record at Cocodona 250?
Should be around there.
50 hours. Bro, they're going to learn how to not to sleep.
Well, they don't sleep now.
Yeah, they do.
Jeff Browning slept for 40 minutes total.
I don't think that's accurate.
That's what I believe I heard him say.
I think they're going to learn how to not sleep and be more productive when running on non-sleep. They're going to come out with,
I don't want to cheer against it. I want to cheer for it.
Okay.
I want to say that
Sounds
in 10 years, yes. In 5 years, no.
I will accept.
Okay.
This call may be recorded for quality assurance. Okay. Awesome. This is fun. This is awesome. I think these 200s are popping up and they're popping up quick. I think it's going to be 30 years of adoption, like slowly. That distance is insane. It actually is like quite wild to be like, I'm going to go run for 3 or 4 days. Mm-hmm. It's not for everyone. Definitely not. You're not going to get the signups of a 5K or even a half marathon that sell out in a day or two. There are hundreds that sell out in hours. Cocodona is sold out.
For next year?
Yes.
Oh. Well,
they sold out in a week.
That's awesome.
The Cocodona 250 is sold out 1 year in advance.
Good for them.
What else does that tell you about the distance? Or that race?
Are the other 200 milers sold out a week after their race? 2 weeks after their race?
I know Tahoe and Moab are lotteries.
Because I was just wondering how much of it comes from the live stream.
I think a large amount comes from they are the very best at media in our sport. Their media attack is insane.
You think they're better than UTMB?
Yes.
Really?
Nobody likes UTMB.
Well, now
everybody likes Cocodona.
They're in trouble this year, or last year.
Yes.
But I hear what you're saying.
I think it very much has to do with their marketing efforts. They're so on point with their social media and their live stream. It's wild.
Yeah, I agree with that.
They make it look fun to run 250 miles in the desert. And people are like, I want to do that.
100%.
I want to sign up.
Yep.
And they do. And they sell out. So Destination Trails has done a great job in the last less than decade, 7 to 10 years, creating the lure behind the Bigfoot 200, Tahoe 200, and the Moab 240, the Triple Crown. So people sign up for the Triple Crown and go do all three. So that's a way to get into all three I think you can sign up for the Triple Crown and just be guaranteed a spot in all three because Bigfoot is also a lottery. Bigfoot, Tahoe, Moab, they're all lotteries. If you just want to do one, you got to put in for the lottery. I do think it's a pretty high draw-out rate. Like, it's not like Western where it's like 1% chance of getting in. I think those races are, I would say you have a greater than 50% chance of getting in to the lottery. But to the point, those three have led the charge in the 200, and they're selling out every year. And now Cocodona is selling out every year in record speed, which means there's room for more 200s, and there's more crazy people that are like, I want to try that.
Yes, I agree. That's exciting.
This is going to be fun to watch over the next 5 to 10 years at how quick the 200 gains speed and how much money all the gear and nutrition and product companies are going to start throwing down in these 200-mile races to get the big names in them.
Yeah, I'm excited. They just need to come up with a new knee, a new IT band that people can just strap on, and then I'll do it.
Oh, yeah. We'll get that.
Hook it up.
Okay. I'll make a few calls after this. Thank you for joining us on the next aid station this morning. Thank you to Rockstar. Thank you to DC Peaks. It's been a great morning. Visit us again next week. Like, share, comment, reshare,
follow,
click the link below. This has been the next aid station.